Indonesia today, I think, with the 282 million population, we are still able to manage to navigate in this particular situation. Our economic growth last year, we grew like 5.3%, and inflation 5.3%. And our export last year, it was $293 billion. I think if you look at back to 2021, it was $233 billion. So by showing this one, the confidence within the country today, Indonesia, and also in the region, I think pretty good. Being the chair of the ASEAN today, the spirit of the G20, I think if you look at also the outcome of the G20, see the bilateral result is around $71 billion.
Sorry, 71 US billion in terms of new investment? Or?
Yes,
yeah.
That's I think the deal that we make at the time. So written. Now we follow up all those things.
Yeah.
Some of this is about the JEPT, $20 billion. This morning we had a breakfast also with our the American counterpart. I would like to see the pilot project immediately. I don't want just to, because sometimes I experience now too much discussion sometimes. So I told my counterpart from the US, to John Kerry, I said, why don't we do like this? We propose, but anything you advise to us, we very welcome. But one thing, don't disturb our economic growth. So whatever it is, because at the end, we have to create job opportunity for the people of Indonesia, similar also to the other ASEAN countries. So again, stability in ASEAN, I think, is going to be good. Although in ASEAN member, I think some also, they have own national interest. We understand that, but we also encourage them to understand also the solidarity among the ASEAN countries, which is not also easy.
Yeah.
But again, with the confidence that we have, because we are successful, I think, to bridge some differences during the G20, which is some people pessimistic at the time, but we, changed the pessimistic to become the, very successful outcome.
Yeah, as you say, you did okay with the G20. Now you've got another chairmanship, ASEAN.
Yes.
And you hit
that resentment,
Let's talk a bit about China and the US. The question I have is Indonesia under President Jokowi has sought to position itself as a relatively neutral and friendly to all party. On one hand, of course, there was an elevation of the US-Indonesian relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership last year. But that was also coupled with at least two face-to-face meetings in the second half of 2023 between President Xi Jinping and President Jokowi. So I suppose the question here is, to what extent do you see this balancing, hedging, or this neutrality-centered act? Can Indonesia really stay out of it, or are you concerned about possible escalation, say, in the South China Seas?
It's the traditional Indonesian foreign policy since the founding of our republic in 1945, proclamation. We got our sovereignty in 1950, and we've had 74 years of continuous neutrality. I mean, we call it non-alignment. It's a euphemism for neutrality. We're one of the few neutral states in the world, by the way. I mean, Sweden is no longer neutral. Finland is no longer neutral. They're members of NATO. It's questionable about Switzerland. Indonesia is a neutral country, a non-aligned neutral country. We intend to be. And yes, I think it's, dare I say, inevitable that tensions will escalate. It depends who's going to be the next president of the United States. And it's a matter of style over substance, isn't it? I don't think we are relatively neutral. We are completely neutral. We're friends with everybody. Prabowo, my brother, likes this Chinese saying. Apparently it's a Chinese saying. One enemy too many, 1,000 friends too few. That apparently is from Taoism, apparently. And we believe that. We believe that. So there will be pressures. There will be pressures to hew to one side or the other. And I think we'll be able, we've done it for 74 years. We've resisted that.
On the role of ASEAN, are you more hopeful that maybe it's not about the disunity or the fragmentation that we can take away from all of this, but that maybe ASEAN is just fluid, it's dynamic, and it's open to aligning with all parties, such that it is therefore overarchingly aligned with no one? So what do you make of ASEAN's positioning in relation to Sino-American tensions?
ASEAN is not a monolith. It's not a strategic or military alliance. It's a forum for discussion, frankly. It's basically a forum for discussion. And there are economic, programs common to all of the members, and not so common to all the members. But member states have their own, particular national interest. I mean, Cambodia is very close to the People's Republic. The Philippines is closer to the United States. Indonesia is neutral. But there were, as you said, different power arrangements within ASEAN and with individual member states.
Let's talk about values, and this is
For comprehensive investigation into this humanitarian disaster. Understanding the full extent of this tragedy is crucial to preventing such incidents from happening again. We are very aware that the Palestine problem is a long and historical problem. We are cognizant of the fact that both sides have legitimate concerns for their safety, for their right to exist, and for their prosperity. We are also cognizant of the fact that the resolution of this crisis must consist of mutual respect for the rights and the concerns of all parties. There cannot be a single narrative that is legitimate, as is often been repeated. Indonesia calls for a just solution to the problem, and that means the right of not only Israel to exist, but also the right of the Palestinian people to have their own homeland, their own state, living in peace. I would like now to comment on the most recent development in the region. Why this is important for us? Because Indonesia is part of the Islamic world. Although physically we are not of the region, but what happens in the Middle East, what happens in Gaza, affect the concern.
Madam President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to stand once again before this august body, the last time that I do so during my 2 terms as President of Indonesia. I could not agree more with the chosen theme of this session, delivering and implementing transformative post-2015 development agenda. The theme, which is very much in line with work of the high-level panel I was privileged to co-chair. In the past 15 years, the international community has embarked on an ambitious grand project for humanity, the Millennium Development Goals. Our hard work over the years has produced achievements which include breakthrough in combating poverty, increasing school enrollment, and improving public health. These achievements are encouraging and in some instances inspiring. But humanity as a whole have not achieved all the MDGs target. Successes are uneven. They differ between regions. They differ within regions, and they even differ within countries. We have come a long way, yet we still have a long way to go. For those who made it and those who are yet to make it, I learned one best lesson. The most important drivers of change lies in governance. Not just good governance, but smart governance. Smart governance usually involves innovative leadership and active public participation. Without at least these 2 elements, all the hard work we put in will not produce desired result. And with smart governance, nations can go beyond your potential and leapfrog over others ahead of them. In Indonesia, beyond our wildest imagination, we have managed.
Excellency, Chairman Temasek Trust, Madam Ho Ching, Excellency, Chairman Temasek Holdings, Mr. Lim Boon Hang, Excellency, Executive Director and CEO, Mr. Dilan Pillai, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm glad to be here, and on this beautiful day, I would like to take the opportunity to ask you, who will win next year's presidential election? Wrong speech. I'm sorry, I apologize for the wrong speech. Even if I know that all of you are curious about it, I'm sorry. But seriously, our friends in Singapore know us so well that whoever will lead Indonesia will be focused on turning this magnificent country into the powerhouse and giant of Asia. So everything will be fine. No need to worry. Your investment in Indonesia will continue to be safe, and also the continuity of Nusantara capital cities development.
First has shunted aside the established democratic ways of resolving disputes between and among nations. The conflict in the Middle East and the unending war in Iraq continue to destabilize the global landscape. The still unresolved nuclear issue on the Korean Peninsula, as well as the continuing vulnerability of the East Asian economy, have become a source of our distress. As a security community, we will raise the level of our cooperation in political and security matters so that we can take full responsibility for addressing all threats to our regional security. The surge of unilateralism in international affairs has shunted aside the established democratic ways of resolving disputes between and among nations. The conflict in the Middle East and the unending war in Iraq continue to destabilize the global landscape. The still unresolved nuclear issue on the Korean Peninsula, as well as the continuing vulnerability of the East Asian economy, have become a source of our distress. As a security community, we will raise the level of our cooperation in political and security matters so that we can take full responsibility for addressing all threats to our regional security. The surge of unilateralism in international affairs has shunted aside the established democratic ways of resolving disputes between and among nations. The conflict in the Middle East